All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Dom and Gonz Sports Talk, the show where we not only talk about everything Baltimore Ravens, but around the NFL. And today we've got some post-game breakdowns for the Baltimore Ravens Week 2 matchup against the Cleveland Browns, where the Ravens pulled away with a dominant 41-17 victory at home at 1 o'clock. And it was, classic AFC North brawl for the most part until the second half when the Ravens started to pull away. So it was nice for the Ravens to get back into the win column. Much needed. It's been a crazy week, too. A lot of insanity has been happening around the NFL. And we're happy to bring it for you, and we're ready to talk about it. I'm Gonz, that's Dom, and let's get it started. So before we dive in, how are we doing tonight, Dom? I think this is at night when we're recording this.
Yeah, I'm doing great. What a way to kick off your home field, your 2-game homestead in that fashion. It was a great win for the guys. Big bounce back, huge bounce back after their week 1 performance. It was great. It was great to be able to watch it. Great to be able to see the guys playing all together. Like you said, crazy week 2. It's just a lot happened. Let's get into it, man. I'm ready.
Yeah, and probably before we start divvying it up and going section by section, I think the biggest thing to take away from this game was that the Ravens finished the ball game, which is what you're supposed to do if you want to be a championship squad. And I always say this, you put your foot on the throat of your opponent and you don't let up. And the Ravens did just that in the second half. So very proud of the team for finishing the game the way they did on Sunday. Much, much bigger difference than week 1. So we really do appreciate that. So let's dive into it. I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully y'all can see this okay. What's that looking like? No, don't see it?
No, not yet.
Okay. Weird. It says it's sharing.
Oh, did you add it to the stage?
Let's see.
Oh, there we go.
Got it. There we go. All right. So let's just start. How about we start with the offense, since that's the first thing up. Baltimore Ravens offense. Yes, the good news. They scored 41 points. So big shout out. That's the second straight week where they've scored 40 points. So very good things. Lamar Jackson, a very efficient day passing the football, 19 for 29 with 4 touchdowns. We got a Jackson 4. Was sacked 3 times. And what's cool about those 4 touchdowns is they didn't go to Mark Andrews. They didn't go to Zay Flowers. They went to these newer guys and newcomers going to the team. DeAndre Hopkins had 2 receptions for 64 yards and 2 touchdowns.
No, he only had 1.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong. Wait, that's right. I'm sorry. The other one got called back. I was at the game, folks, and everybody thought that first one was a touchdown. So yeah, 2 receptions, 64 yards, and 1 touchdown. One of them almost being another touchdown. And then the other guy, Mr. Tavantes Walker, who apparently only scores touchdowns, 2 for 26 and 2 more touchdowns, leading his career stats for 3 receptions and 3 touchdowns. I mean, that's about as great as you can get. I mean, you could retire right there and say, I had 3 catches in the NFL and I had all of them score touchdowns.
All 3 touchdowns.
It was amazing. So it's cool to see that these newer guys are getting involved in scoring touchdowns in the red zone. So shout out to them. Very exciting to see. And that's not to say that Zay Flowers didn't have his yards. He did. He was a leading receiver for the Ravens, 7 catches for 75 yards. So he was, again, being very efficient, being consistent, showing he can be a consistent wide receiver 1. So I'm really excited about that. Little bit of a down game for the tight ends. I don't think anybody had a catch. Mark Andrews had 1 short, 1 for 2. I remember that one. It was very close to a first down. But, it's been pretty quiet when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens tight ends in receptions and yardage, especially the past 2 games. So we'll keep an eye on that. Tylan Wallace had a couple catches as well. He had 2 for 25 and the touchdown. I forgot he was the other one. He was the other Lamar Jackson touchdown pass that happened in the first half. on a nice play action bootleg. So that was nice to see. Tylan Wallace still getting his opportunities and making the most out of them. So shout out to him. We've been talking a lot about the passing game. Why? Because there was no running game whatsoever as the Ravens finished with 21 carries for only 45 yards. That's good for a 2.1 average yards per carry. That is a big yikes if you are the Baltimore Ravens, especially when when you're a team that's built on running the football. So we need to get that cleaned up. Derrick Henry, not a good game. And was it all his fault? No. But there were a couple of times where, the O-line was just abysmal and just no pushback on the Browns D-line. We're going to talk more about that in a little bit. The one thing I really didn't like, though, that's another fumble for Henry. I know he recovered it, but he put it on the ground again. And I don't know what's going on. I understand it was a nice play by the Browns, but at some point you've got to hold on to the football. And this has not been an issue for him his whole career. I don't know why he's starting to I don't understand why this is an issue all of a sudden. I still think Henry's fine. I'm not going to overreact and say, oh, he's washed, he's getting old or whatever. I think he's just getting a little sloppy with holding the ball. Okay. He needs to clean that up immediately, in my opinion. So yeah, get him out of your system now. So when it comes January, December, those kind of games, you need to hold the ball. Yeah, that was about it for the running game. Lamar had a couple scrambles. And Justice Hill, 3 for 7, just nothing, absolutely nothing. Nothing doing in the run game. So I don't know. I've got some questions about you or questions for you about that. But before that, how did you feel about this offense? Was it a successful day or how are we feeling?
Not a great day for balance, I'll tell you that much. But as far as the offense itself, I mean, when you consecutively drop 40-plus points in back-to-back games, I mean, it's not much you can really say. Lamar, again, things were looking very rocky to start, right? The run game wasn't working. Lamar was looking a little off on some of his throws. Like some things were just, it wasn't clicking at first. And the Browns' defense was very, very disruptive to start, especially with Garrett and those guys. And the secondary was just getting to the ball very quickly too. So you had to give kudos to them in that first half. But in that second half, man, it's like the floodgates opened and the offense just started to flow very smoothly. And like Zay, and you mentioned Zay Flowers earlier, he's just attacking. He's just getting to the ball, attacking his route. Like he's running way crisper than he ever has. You know what I mean? I don't think there's any debate anymore if he's a wide receiver one. I think he's solidifying it now with these back-to-back performances that he's had. And even though he didn't have a touchdown in this game, like we don't move the ball a lot without him. Like he had a really good day against the Browns. I think he went for 75. Yeah, he did go for 75 in that game. 10 yards per catch. I mean, that's just incredible. D-Hop turning back the fountain of youth with his catching ability. So, I mean, just him, Tez, Tylan getting a touchdown. Like the pass game seems to just be flowing, and we don't even have all of our full weapons on offense. We're still without Likely. We're still without Pat Ricard, who's huge for our run game, for Henry and those guys. So I'm still holding high praise for this offense and what they've been able to do. You did bring up Derrick Henry's fumbles. I haven't heard of a Derrick Henry back-to-back fumble in very, very long time. Somebody can quote me. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. But back-to-back games with a fumble just doesn't sound like him. So I still have faith in him, though. I think he'll get it together. I think he'll be just fine. But it was a little frightening to see. I'm glad we recovered it. Glad the Browns didn't have a chance to capitalize on that. But yeah, this offense is flowing really, really well. And I'm with Andrews, I also have a concern because it feels as though like he's not really being targeted as much anymore as he usually is. Now, I don't know if that's teams really taking him away or if that's Lamar not really truly looking his way. I'm not entirely sure. But I mean, he had one target he had like two. No, he had three.
No, well, he had a bad drop in the end zone.
He did have a touchdown in his hands, and then it got punched out, which is unusual for him because he usually holds on to those. He's pretty much like a good, like, possession catch kind of player, like a good possession tight end who you really just throw it up to and say, hey, go get it. You know what I mean? And he got it, but he didn't hold on to it. So that was pretty shocking of seeing that, because Lamar would have had a Jackson 5 if you really want to put it in perspective for this game. But, you know, I mean, it happens. It got punched out. I still think Andrews is going to be a big part of this offense. I still think that he's going to still be able to put on great performances this year. We'll see how that dynamic goes with Likely coming back. But all in all, like I said, this offense is still clicking high, even with the run game not doing well. Offensive line has got to be better at run blocking for sure. Because those guys, the Browns were just in the offensive backfield before you can even blink. So we got to do better run blocking. But other than that, I think they were just fine. I think that you know, you keep this going, you keep targeting different guys, you keep giving different guys opportunities, and you know, you show your trust in them. And I think that's what this offense is about. It's not about just one person. It's about just being able to move the ball at any way possible, whether it's Lamar running, Henry running, Zay, D-Hop, Tez, Bate, like, you know, just giving that ball around. So I'm happy to see that it's still fluent. And I'm hoping they can keep, you know, just keep this up, you know?
Yeah, and it's pretty interesting. And it's a good thing that some Ravens fans consider that this was an off day for the offense, and they still scored 40 points. So imagine when they can clean up these mistakes, how much they could do, how much better they'll be. So that's good. They're scoring 40 with a lot of things to clean up. So there's some things to look forward to in the coming weeks. Let me ask you this. So this offensive line, you brought it up. I brought it up as well. The run game, not paving any holes or, you know, getting any push on that Browns defensive line. Do we credit Jim Schwartz in their game plan, or is there more of a concern here that's going to show up down the road on this offensive line?
I want to say that we credit the game plan because of the fact that it was so successful week one. Because of the fact that we were able to not only throw the ball really well week one, we were also able to run very, very well week one, right? So we were able to have, which is when we scored 40. We scored 40 again week one against the Bills. So it's not like we couldn't score against them for a majority of that game. It's just the fact that our defense, again, was just not able to stop Josh Allen. So I think you credit Jim Schwartz in that game plan and how they were attacking the run, because you could just tell the way they were getting at Henry. They were like, okay, we're sending everybody we got at him, and we are living or dying by the fact that we are not going to let him have a great day. And that pretty much resulted in Lamar having a great day and the receivers having a great day, right? So I think you credit that game plan, but my concern is when teams look at that tape and they see, oh, okay, so if we stop Henry by sending every single body, our coach, our water boy, everybody we have at Henry, then we should be able to stop him. And to that point, okay, well, if you stop Henry, then Lamar's just going to get you. But my thing is, too, that we've had this conversation about Lamar dropping back like 50, 60 times and not having a reliable run game. And I think as though if you're Monken, you really have to strategize on how you're giving Henry the ball and different ways you can get him the ball, whether even it's in the run game or the pass game, like including him in a screen or, you know what I mean, giving him more pitches and stuff like that. Just thinking of creative ways to get him the ball so he can still be a force, because, I mean, that game plan that the Browns had was executed very, very well for the run game. For the run game, it was executed very, very well.
Yeah, I think you got to give a ton of credit to the Browns and their defense, and that defensive line is one of the best in the league, honestly. I mean, you've got now with the new addition, Mason Graham from Michigan. I mean, you've got guys in the middle, you've got guys on the edge. I mean, it's the Browns. Let's put it like this: Cleveland's issues have not been because of their defense. We'll just say that right now. If you've been watching them the past few years, their issues has not been the defense, and once again, they show why. Each and every week, their defense keeps them in these games. And this dates back years ago. So I'm giving a credit to Cleveland, but yes, we do need to be able to run the ball in some scenarios where the other team knows you're going to run the ball, because that just shows your physicality. And I know they did it over and over again against the Buffalo Bills, and that was wonderful because the Bills are one of the top-tier teams of the AFC. But you still need to be able to do that on a consistent basis. And it's not like you have to get 150 yards per game, but you need to be able to, if it's 3rd and short, you need to be able to just move the pile just a little bit and pick up a first down and not worry about whether they're stacking the box or not. Just run it and get it. You got a battering ram as a running back, so use it. I really didn't have an issue too much with Munkin's play calling. I know a lot of people did, but honestly, I thought he did a nice job adjusting to how the game was going, because we were running and we were losing 5 yards. I mean, it was – maybe you stop trying to call those outside runs where you're trying to bounce it out, and I don't know. Maybe that's the part where Monken could have worked on the play calling a little bit, and just do more stuff right at the defense up the middle. But yeah, that would be my only concern. I thought that the Ravens adjusted well to the game. I mean, passing was working. What do? We start passing more and gashing that Browns defense, who was ready for the run. Especially coming out of halftime. They came out and they did a play action. And they got a big gain to Zay Flowers right over the middle to start that whole train of points that they got in the 3rd quarter. So,
but yeah, they scored.
That was a nice job.
Yeah, they scored 21 in the 4th quarter.
Yeah,
like they scored 31
in the 3rd, 21 in the 4th.
Scored 31 total points in that second half, and then you only gave up 3 in the first half. And then you gave up a garbage time touchdown in the 4th. And you did give up a touchdown in the 3rd. But, I mean, like, to score a whole, like, game's worth of points in the second half by itself is just you just got to give it to Monken and just the offensive execution. Because when the game plan was stop Henry and they said, oh, okay, and just started flinging it, like, if you can do that, then – and then Lamar was, like, super poised in the pocket, too, so that helps. He kind of shook off that rough start he had with some of those off throws, and he started hitting, like, he hit D-Hop perfectly on 2 great passes. Like, both could have been touchdowns. No, one was touchdown, but both of them could have been touchdowns, quite literally. You hit Tez perfectly for 2 touchdowns. Like, it was
that one in the corner was perfect.
It was perfect. Perfectly placed.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect execution on the route by Tez. I mean, what more can you ask for? Like, it was a great offensive showing, especially being, and I think that's kind of this is my last point on it, but I think with this team, it just this is kind of what you want to see from your squad, right? Because you see that you don't play well in the first half. And they'll admit they did not play well offensively in the first half. Defense, well, we'll get the defense in a second, but defense was playing great. But you don't play well offensively in the first half. You only put up 10 points. Lamar's kind of off. Running game's not working. Offensive line is kind of iffy. But then you come out and you say, F all that. We're going to turn it around. And then instantly we're able to make an impact immediately. You know, and those are the kind of things you want to see. You just want to see your team being able to bounce back off a rough start. And if they can continuously do this, if they can understand continuously that it's not going to be easy going for every half or whatever, I mean, being able to bounce back in these ways is huge. So I just hope they're able to keep this up because you're going to need it, especially the way the schedule turns out for the next couple of games.
Yeah, absolutely. The one last point I'm going to make is we do on the play calling aspect is shoring up that goal line play calling because we didn't run it too many times, and understandably so because it wasn't working. I still think even though you're like a yard or 2 out, you should try to run the ball a little bit. So hopefully in the future we'll see more of Henry on the goal line. But again, we saw a ton of it last week, so I can't overreact to it yet. I'm just reacting to what we saw last week. We've only seen 2 games from this team, so hopefully against the Lions they'll do more runs, and I think the running game will be better against that defense as well, against an NFC team that we haven't played as often as Cleveland. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, let's go ahead and shift gears and go to the defensive side of the ball. Looking at the Browns stats, there was not much happening in the receiving game. I mean, Jerry Jeudy, I think you had some issues with that secondary, so maybe say that next time. Harold Fannin Jr., 5 for 48. That's their rookie tight end out of Bowling Green, and he's looking pretty good. David Njoku, you already know Flacco likes his tight ends. David Njoku had 4 catches for 40 yards with a long reception, the 23. I remember that one. That was right before halftime to give him that 3-point lead or 3-point score going into the half. If y'all remember that, that was kind of frustrating. But it's okay. Jerome Ford, a lot of catches and checkdowns, 5 for 23. I mean, that just shows you, looking at these stats here, the Ravens were rallying to the football very well, and they were making their open field tackles, and that is exactly what we went wanting to see, and it's exactly what I said in the morning of yesterday's game before I even went at 9:30. If any of you guys were live, I know we had a couple people pop in. We appreciate that. Y'all remember what I said. Tackle, tackle, tackle in the open field, and that is exactly what they did because Flacco was checking that ball down all game long. So shout out to the defense. Rushing, they did have 115 yards, but 30 of those came on the one of the last drives of the game from Quinshon Judkins. So again, pretty tidy defense by the Ravens. Looking at some statistics, Roquan Smith led the team, 15 total tackles. This was a really good game from him. He was flying around the ball. I mean, this was the fastest I've seen Roquan play since he was first getting here. I mean, this is the kind of stuff we need to see from our leader, our field general. Okay, he was talking to Ray. There's a video of him getting pepped up by Ray Lewis. That was so awesome. Because he's taking that spot of what Ray Lewis once stood. So your leader needs to be flying around the ball just like that. Okay, if you're going to try to be the leader of this team, which he most certainly can be and is, okay, you've got to be a little bit quicker, and you've got to stand out a little bit from the rest of your teammates. And I think he did that in the biggest way against the Browns. So let's see if Roquan can keep this consistency up going into the future. So shout out to him because he definitely made a lot of plays. Malachi Stark, second on the team in tackles. That was good. He was around the ball a lot as well. So that was exciting to see. He's still gonna wait a little bit before he gets his first turnover. So we'll see what happens with that in the future. But all of these guys, I mean, they were like everyone I could see on here was making a statement play. I mean, Tavius Robinson, sack, fumble, and Flacco. Okay, Kyle Hamilton destroying a screen pass. I was just, oh my God, it was so beautiful. He just absolutely read it like a book. Nobody saw him. Jerome Ford had no chance and just got absolutely dominated. Loved it. Trenton Simpson was around. Marlon Humphrey around too. Nate Wiggins had an interception on Mr. Joe, and that was awesome. That was a great one. I know you made your opponent pay for making a terrible decision. Okay, that is exactly what we needed and what we've been wanting from this defense for every year. So shout out, 2 turnovers. They got a fumble 6 from Roquan, who picked it up. Tavius Robinson knocked it out, and he took it all the way. And then, as we said, Nate Wiggins nearly had a pick 6, but he was tracked down by an offensive lineman. So shout out to the defense for getting some takeaways and forcing some mistakes, which is what we've been preaching. Okay, so shout out to them. I know we had a couple injuries. I know Kyle Van Noy is going to miss some time with a hamstring, and Marlon Humphrey is dealing with a groin. But John Harbaugh said they're not major injuries, and they're not severe. So hopefully they'll be back sooner rather than later. So shout out to them. Mike Green was flying around the ball too. He had a couple pressures, and he's getting close. He's going to get that sack very soon. Who else did I forget? Oh, Nnamdi Madubuike. Another very good game. Another sack. That's 2 straight games with a sack. He's doing some really good things here to start the season. And then lastly, the last one I want to bring up, TJ Tampa had a beautiful pass deflection on 4th down and 10 for the Cleveland Browns. He just made a perfect break on it, just absolutely punches it away from the receiver and forced the turnover on down. So, yeah, a lot of improvement from what we've seen in the Bills game. So shout out to the defense for making those improvements and forcing some turnovers, rallying to the ball, not getting gashed, and most importantly, finishing the game. So, yeah, very good. What we need to see more of, though, pass rush. Okay, there were still some times where it wasn't consistent. So we need to be able to still crank up the pressure and really get after these quarterbacks, because there were some times where Flacco was able to escape the pocket or, have all day in the pocket itself and just stand and look and survey. So we need to still get a little bit of consistency into that a little bit more. So we'll see how the pass rush develops down the road. And we got a big test coming up on Monday night against the Lions. So you're really going to need to get the pass rush going and get after Goff, because you already know what they got going on in Detroit. So yeah, is the defense? Well, I'll hold my question. I got another question to discuss. We both will give our breakdowns on it. But Dom, how did you feel about this defense?
Yeah, no, they huge bounce back compared to week 1. We remember what happened again when we played Browns the first time around last week.
Yeah.
We were getting dotted up like it was a dartboard. This is what James was doing. Majority of that game, right? It was just we were getting dotted up. And even Browns still have the same guys they had, right? There was nothing different. Well, a couple of additions, but other than that, it wasn't anything different, right? This time the Ravens held true. They held true to bouncing back after a bad week 1 performance defensively. I mean, like you said, Roquan had one of his best games that we've seen in a very, very, very long time. It was like when we first picked him up. He was flying to the ball, multiple tackles for loss, the run back for the fumble, just led the team in tackles, I believe, again. He was amazing in that game. So you got to credit him for bouncing back. A lot of talk. I know there's a lot of talk in Ravenstown about Roquan, but you have to give credit where credit is due. He shut a lot of haters up in this game. 3 tackles for loss in that game. Like he was just able to his IQ, showing off his IQ that we know he has, right? Like he's one of the smarter players, one of the smarter defensive players that we've seen. So shout out to him. Shout out to Ray Lewis for giving him that pep talk ahead of the game. Kind of waking that demon in him before he stepped out onto the field. You hit it on the nose perfectly. Turnovers. We have preached this since the summer, right? In training camp. Take advantage of when the offense makes mistakes. We should have did it against Allen. Allen gave us almost 2 gimmies last week in that Sunday night football game. Malachi should have had one, and Cheetah Bay almost had one, right? So Allen should have gave us 2 last week, but we could not capitalize. Now, the Wiggins interception, he should have ran that back, in my opinion. That should have been a Wig 6, in my humble opinion. Okay, I don't know how he got chased down by, what was it, the tackle or somebody who chased him down?
He was running out of gas.
Yeah, he was out of gas. That's fine, though. Wiggs, you got to take those back, fam. You got to take those back. But great interception, great way to stay with the ball. Shout out to Tavius Robinson, like you said earlier, with the strip sack. I mean, just taking advantage of those opportunities, man. And we talked about getting at Flacco now. He's not his young self. So he's not as mobile. He's not really moving around. So being able to get to him was important. And I do agree with you that although the pass rush was relatively better than it was week 1, there is definitely still some room for improvement. They'll tell you themselves there's still some room for improvement. We only sacked Flacco twice, I believe, in that game. I felt like it really could have been more. I know he was getting the ball out pretty quick because, like you said earlier, he was checking down a lot to guys because of how good the pass rush was doing and getting there. But I feel like he could have been sacked more times. But other than that, pass rush had a really good day. Just getting to him. We had 9 QB hits in that game compared to their 5, which I'll take. Marlo, man, you got to hit the jugs, bro. You got to hit that jugs machine because I don't know how that interception goes through your hands and ends up being another tip pass like it was last week. I don't know what it is with our luck when it comes to almost interceptions turning into big gains or big plays, but we got to chill out. That interception went right through Marlo's hands. It literally said, like, it went right through. So we gotta. I'm thankful for the turnovers we had, but man, when they give you that gimme, you gotta take it. you got to take it because that tip pass turned into, I think, a Cedric Tillman touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. So it's just, again, taking advantage of those opportunities when they're given. But all in all, great game from the defense. What a way to bounce back in this performance against a tough divisional opponent. You need every division win you can get in this division because it's any given Sunday in this division. So you'll definitely take the win when you can get it. And I'm just hoping that they can build on this and just try to stack these type of defensive performances because you're going to need these type of performances when you're going up against some more of these elite quarterbacks. So obviously we're about to face two pretty good ones in the next coming weeks. So I'm hoping that, they show up and show out.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, is the Ravens defense back? No, we still need to see more consistency before we really crown them as, whatever we were expecting coming out of the offseason. So still more progress to be made. You've got a lot more tests to demonstrate this, but this was a great starting point on turning it around after a rough start. So shout out to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think these next two opponents, like you said, are going to be true tests because you have one offense that absolutely just exploded against Chicago on Sunday. And you have another offense who was also kind of struggling, but has one of the best quarterbacks you've pretty much ever seen running the show. So we'll see how that goes. That's going to be really true test for this defense coming up. But I'm hoping they step up. I'm hoping they step up to the challenge. Like they had a defense only meeting before this game just talk about it. And it seems as though it rang true. So, I just hope that they can just stack these type of performances up because you're going to need it. The schedule is not going to get easier before the bye week. It's going to get tougher. So I hope they're strapped in and ready.
Yeah, real quickly, I know we're going to do our prediction show for the next upcoming NFL week, but around the AFC North, there were a couple things that probably we should take note of. Pittsburgh losing to the Seahawks at home in their home opener with Rodgers in that offense laying a stinker. All right, it wasn't a stinker, but they got held to only 17 points, and I heard that was only because they were capitalizing off turnovers from the Seahawks because they really couldn't sustain drives after watching the highlights too. I mean, they got set up inside the 10-yard line or deep inside the Seahawks territory after an interception. Jalen Ramsey got an interception, but other than that, they really weren't sustaining drives, and that's the thing. I'm hoping that's what we see out of Aaron Rodgers this year, just a little bit of averageness through him now. I don't know how else to put it, but just a real average quarterback. We don't need
somebody's
to see
a little bit human,
because it was really nice to see. It was kind of nice to see the Bills absolutely dominate the Jets, because that might show you that A, the Bills are still good, and B, the Jets aren't as good as people were saying. So those Steelers fans might be a little concerned that they almost lost to the Jets.
Gave up almost 30. They
gave up 31 points to the Jets, and it came down to a Boswell 60-yard field goal. 60-yard field goal away from being 0-2. Oh, man. But anyway, yeah, they were brought back to earth this week. And it's the Seattle team who isn't even supposed to be a powerhouse, but they just have a solid defense, and, they did their thing. They capitalized on the mistakes. Rodgers was intercepted. And there was a really dumb play by Caleb Johnson who misfielded a kickoff where it went into the end zone after touching his helmet, and the Seahawks recovered it for a touchdown in the fourth quarter. So that was awesome. Keep making those mistakes. Keep on doing it. I'd love to see it. We all love to see it. The world loves to see it. So keep doing it. Bengals, they did get the win and improved to 2-0, but they're not really playing that well. So it's a little shocking to see that they're playing. I mean, I guess it's the quality opponents they're playing too. I don't think they're playing winning football against a good squad. They should have lost to the Browns, and they could have easily lost to the Jaguars. So shout out to Trevor and them playing well, but they don't look that good. And Browning, who we got to talk about now, is the starting quarterback for the Bengals for the next couple months due to Joe Burrow getting a severe turf toe injury, requiring surgery. So he is going to be out for a while, and this is Jake Browning's squad now. He was intercepted 3 times, and the Jaguars still couldn't close the game out. So,
which is nuts.
I don't think that you put up an effort like that against even a decent team like the Chargers or maybe the Broncos or the Raiders and expect to win. So I don't think I think the Bengals are in some trouble. And while their defense hasn't been absolutely getting scorched like people thought it was, I don't think it's shown enough, and I don't think the quality of opponents that they've played have shown enough to really get you excited about that team. I don't. But somehow they're first in the division at 2-0. I don't know how they're winning, but I think that their time is coming when they start to play harder opponents. And I think next week they got to play the Minnesota Vikings, who also do not have J.J. McCarthy. So they might get another win there. We'll see.
Browning.
Who is it?
Carson Wentz.
Okay, all right. All right. He's a viable backup. All right. So maybe they can pull it off. It's in Minnesota. Anyway,
it's crazy, like, because you want to send your prayers to Joe Burrow because you really don't want to see like great quarterbacks go down, especially with those long-term injuries. I was really looking for. I know people have their hopes that he'll be back by the time they play the Ravens for the first time. You'll just have to see. Obviously, I've never dealt with turf toe. I don't know the severity of the injury or things of that nature, but
it's a nagging injury. That's the problem with it. So if he tries to rush back, he's going to be dealing with it, and it's going to affect his mobility.
Okay, so with that being said, now that you cleared that up, I think with Burrow, it's just like you hate to see those kind of guys go down. I mean,
I feel like
you hate playing against them, right? The games are entertaining, right? As fans, but it's like as a Ravens fan, you're like, oh God, we got Joe Burrow coming up. And then it's just like, what he did last year. Both of those games, I needed blood pressure medicine, a heart monitor. You know what I mean? Both of those games went down to the wire through and through. But they're so fun. And then you just kind of enjoy just two great quarterbacks going at each other like that. Like, it's great. It's great for the game. It's great for just great for fandom in general. So you just hate to see a quarterback go down like that. But with Browning, I mean, it's not his first rodeo starting for the Bengals. Now, Joe Burrow was out a little while ago. Browning had to step in, and the record was pretty decent. I mean, at least for the most part. So Browning is a capable backup. How much now, like you said, and you brought up a great point, not every team is going to let you get away with throwing 3 interceptions and letting you live to tell about it. And I think that's another thing. So if you're Browning, well, I hope he keeps making mistakes, especially if he ends up playing us. But but not a lot of teams are going to let you get away with that. So they definitely got lucky playing the Jags. But I don't know, man. Like you said, with the way this team is set up, it's kind of hard to think about them going far without Burrow. We'll have to see. We don't know if they're going to make any moves, if Burrow is not expected to come back anytime soon after the surgery. But all in all, man, I mean, sorry, I lost my train of thought for 2 seconds. All in all, though, again, wishing thoughts and prayers for Burrow, hoping for a swift recovery. And as far as Seattle is concerned, we just hope you guys suffer a little bit more with a couple more losses. You'll be fine.
Pittsburgh, you mean, not Seattle.
Yeah. No, not Seattle. Sorry, Pittsburgh. Sorry, guys. Long day of work. Seattle, you're cool. You're in the NFC. You're fine. But as far as the Steelers go, I just want you guys to suffer a little bit more. It's
really good when they play down to their opponent. It really helps.
Ravens-Steelers rivalry in us. We just want to.
Well, they've got the New England Patriots up next in New England, a feisty squad who got it done against the Dolphins. So Drake May,
my pick of the week.
You want to go crazy? You want to have a legacy game? Now would be the time. Against a team that's given up 30 points in 2 straight games,
30 plus.
Go for it. The most expensive defense in the NFL, giving up 30 points for 2 straight. I love it.
I think Highsmith is injured, by the way. I think he's going to be out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Watt has no sacks. Watt has not been himself recently. So hopefully the Patriots can start crafting that little coffin for the Steelers so they can be nailed down.
I mean, Patriots shocked Miami. I know Miami hasn't really been good yet, but they shocked the world.
Patriots, you want to shock the Steelers on Sunday? Please. I would love it.
We'll see.
Be my guest.
We'll see.
Anyway, I think that's enough. I think we're good for tonight. I think we covered everything we needed to. Ravens get the victory 41-17 in a nice dominating fashion to improve to 1-1, second in the division, tied with the rest alone underneath those top Bengals who are 2-0. So we'll see how this shapes out. Ravens got a date with the Lions on Monday Night Football at home next week, a week from today. This is Monday when we're recording this. I've got the game on right now. It's Chargers versus Raiders. It's 10-3 Chargers. So there's still a little bit more football to break down, and we will when we see you again this week on our Week 3 prediction show. But anyway, we're going to go up and get on out of here. Thanks again for tuning in, leaving a like and a subscription if you enjoy. We appreciate all the support that you guys have been giving us over the past few weeks. So, yeah, please, just thank you once again. I don't have anything else to say on that. So we really do appreciate it. More live streams are coming. I know you guys love the live streams, so we're going to keep those coming as well. Kansas City Chiefs is when we're hopefully anticipating the live commentary where we can react to the whole game again, because that was a great time last week for the Week 1 game. So we'll be back with those again. But thanks again. This will be up on YouTube as always. And I think that's it. I think we'll go ahead and say our regards. Dom, you got any last minute thoughts or?
Just great win, great bounce back win. Hopefully we can take that energy back to Baltimore when Detroit comes to town. Monday Night Football is no better energy than Monday Night Football at the bank. It's beautiful to see. It's beautiful to watch. So I'm excited for it. I know Gonz excited for it. So yeah, ready for it. Ready for Week 3. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Bring it on. All right. Well, thanks again for tuning in. We'll be back in a few days with our Week 3 prediction show. We appreciate it once again. All righty, everybody. Have a great night. This is Dom and Gonz signing out. Or great night, great day, whenever you want to watch this. Just enjoy the rest of your work week. And we'll see you in the coming days. Have a great one. This is Dom and Gonz signing out.